This is the Wellcraft that we bought for the motor and the trailer when we bought our Carver. So it was kind of a package deal. So we have been getting the motor ready to be lifted out tomorrow. Here she is. The hole is pretty much waste at this point. And
alright guys, here's the Mercruiser 260, and we're going to replace our Carver's bed Volvo Penta. These are both Chevrolet 350 blocks. This is a good running engine. We've already fired this thing up, and we actually bought it from a guy that knew a little bit of the history on the boat. It's a fairly decent running engine, so it'll get us through at least a summer or two, we hope. But yeah, we're going to do a Volvo Penta to Mercruiser 260 to back to Volvo Penta. So that's our plan. Well, we've got this one here ready to come out. As you can see, this boat has been used for parts by everyone here. But we purchased this with the Carver at the same time, just for this engine and the roller trailer that I'm gonna have Kara show you in just a second.
okay, so here is the roller trailer. Came with this boat, and what we really needed, see if I can get a little bit better view. It was part of a package, and so that total package was $2,000, and that's what we paid getting the motor, the trailer. Of course, we had to dispose of this hull, so and that way you get a better look at the trailer too. And we were able to get the motor ready to go into the Carver. So tomorrow I take it at 11 to get the motor lifted up, set in the back of the truck so we can start working on it, make sure everything's ready to go before we have it set in the Carver after we pull the Penta.
Alright guys, these are relatively easy to pull. A lot easier than a car. Once you've pulled the outdrive, which this one was already off, you'll have a bolt here. You'll have a bolt here. Your wiring harness unplugs from the engine here. This goes up to your gauges. You'll have some ground straps and stuff like this to pull off. Our cable was already cut on one side, so that was relatively easy to pull off. We actually had another ground on this side that's gone. You'll have, well, at least on this boat, but usually on these you'll have the power steering hoses here. We just cut these because we're not using this setup at all. The power steering on this boat is all the way down there. Well, we're also going to change that around because that's not where it sits on the Volvo. And then you're going to want to disconnect your fuel line. This is the only fuel line we had to disconnect here. Just want to go into the fuel tank. Down here is your front motor mounts. You have these on both sides. We took ours loose here on the bottom. These two bolts here to go down in the stringer. We left the adjustments here in the motor mounts, which I'm not 100% sure, but pretty confident they're not going to work on the Volvo. But we'll take a look at that when we get it out. These manifolds and risers are also different on this engine and the Volvo. So we're going to use our manifolds and risers off our Volvo on this engine. We pulled the carburetor a couple weeks ago, or actually I think it was last weekend we pulled the carburetor off. We're going to rebuild it. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it in the Carver or if we're going to go to EFI. We possibly will go back to, or go to an EFI, do an EFI conversion on this engine. Yeah, but we shall see. Like I said, all your accessories can stay on this engine. You don't have to take those off to pull it. This was our, where did that hose? This is our raw water hose, I believe. This was our, yes it is, it goes down here to the water pump. There's a water pump back up here to the thermostat. That was already pulled. The inlet is on the other side. It runs through the oil cooler. I'll go back over and show you that. You have to pull that off too. See the other mountain, you can actually see this one better. Just pulled the 2 bolts out of the stringer. And I don't think we can reuse these. We'll probably use our mounts out of the Carver. This is your oil cooler. Some of them it does power steering and oil, but this is where your raw water comes in. You have to take this hose off to get this engine out, so don't forget that one. Alright guys, we'll keep you up to date. When this thing gets out, it's going to get pulled out this week. At the service yard, they've got a lift to pull this out because I don't know if you noticed, but it's a lot taller than your average car, so you need a pretty tall lift. So they're going to pull this out, and we're going to take it home, strip everything off of this block, get ready to put our Volvo parts on here, and if we do the EFI at that time, we'll do that at the same time. Alright guys, we'll keep you updated. Well guys, we're just about to pack up, and I thought, well, you know, I'm going to throw this board off I've been stepping on the whole time, and we found an aluminum water tank, which we're going to take. We may need that. The guy we bought this boat from said he didn't think it had a water pump, but it does. It has a sure flow. So we'll be taking that too, because those are just unreal, the amount of money you spend on those, and they're rebuildable. So we'll take that because we may actually use that ourselves for something else. But just one more thing, nothing to it. I say take what you can when you can.